to 4,000 tons of used cooking oil generated per month. So X percentage of diesel in all of Europe has to be biodiesel. We can store up to 2,000 tons in total.
How long it takes to build a plant like this?
Collection is happening here. Now there's manufacturing, and then the government is thinking about local consumption. To our 1 liter of biodiesel has almost 83 to 84% less GHG emission.
Investment of 20 million. Where did you start?
Done in the UAE, in Dubai. They've announced that the world will start now finding ways to walk away from fossil fuels. We are perfect replacement. We'll be able to grow faster than we are currently.
Is there any opportunities for smaller startups to be part of this ecosystem?
This is a business of the future, and everybody wants to be associated with sustainable energy nowadays. And that's what we want to do.
Any business that has something to show that they can reduce the load for environment will have a massive attention. And today, we are not exception. Welcome to one of the leading biofuel producers here in Jebel Ali in Dubai. This plant processes waste oil to the biodiesel, and it costs $20 million to build it. This video will give you a tour of the process, how biodiesel is made, and what is the business opportunities here in the region. Let's meet the CEO who runs this place. Shiva.
Pleasure to meet you. Welcome.
Thank you for
Good
welcoming
morning.
us. Yeah. I'm looking forward to find out what you guys do. Tell me.
You guys have just walked into GCC's largest biofuel refinery. We produce 100,000 liters per day of renewable fuel. How do we produce it? We produce it using all waste oils. So predominantly used cooking oils and palm oil mill effluents, waste acid oils. These are waste edible oils that are coming out of various edible oil industry streams. So used cooking oil is the waste oil of, say, fast food chains or any restaurant.
Yeah.
Palm oil mill effluent is the complete waste of palm oil refining. And waste acid oils is similar waste oils of the edible oil industry. With our patented technology, we use the fat that you find in these oils, and we mix that with multiple technologies, heat, steam, chemicals, methanol, to convert that into a clean burning fuel, a substitute to diesel, which is all around the world blended with fossil diesel to bring down the GHG emissions.
So about the cooking oil and the palm oil you mentioned, so that's actually a waste.
Palm oil is not what we use the waste of palm oil.
Waste of palm oil.
It's very important to know that we are a waste refinery.
Yeah.
So we only use waste. We do not use any edible oils for biofuel because we don't want there to be a food versus fuel, and we don't want edible oil to go into biofuels. We want to convert waste. So we are a waste to energy plant. That's what we do.
Okay, so you get raw material.
We source raw material from the region, from GCC. We source raw material from North Africa. We source raw material from Southeast Asia. We source raw material in the past from India. So we have a very good supply chain of different kinds of feedstocks that feed our plant. So if you can see over here, we have our 2 massive raw material tanks. We can store up to 2,000 tons in total. So that means almost 20 to 24 days of raw material.
Each 1,000 ton, yeah?
Each is about 1,000 meter cube. From there, we feed oil into our refinery, which you can see over there. And basically with 3 different processes. There is pre-esterification, then there is trans-esterification, and after that there's distillation. So we use all of these 3 chemical processes along with different chemicals to convert this fat that you find in these oils into a clean fuel. Later on, once your tour is done, we'll take you to the laboratory and we'll show you the difference on how this burns. Our entire supply chain is ISCC audited, which means it is completely sustainable. We have audits done from an organization known as the ISCC. They are responsible for all biofuel related certifications and to ensure that the supply chain is not compromised and it remains sustainable. So from the point of the collection of the oil, it is considered waste, and by the time we export it to any market, whether it's Europe or whether it's local, our customers require the entire chain to be certified.
So what are you checking? What does it mean sustainable for them?
To make sure that used cooking oil is used cooking oil.
Okay.
Anything else can be classified. How do you know it's used cooking oil? So in order to control mislabeling and to control these wrongdoings, everything has to be audited and checked. So we have audits, we have physical audits once a year, where we have auditors from Europe coming to check everything we've done, and we have remote audits in 6 months. This is just for us to be able to sell in the European market, and then country-wise, depending, we have other audits. So it's a very strict supply chain. The entire supply chain needs to have certification, and that's what we do. So we get these waste products, we bring it to this refinery, we convert it to biodiesel, and then we export it to Europe, or we sell it in the local market to help people and customers with their GHG reduction targets, to help with sustainability. Now our main focus is trying to sell as much as we can locally. It's still slow, but it's picking up. And the aim is to help Dubai and the UAE reach their GHG targets, because Dubai as a city has very aggressive targets.
Already set?
Already set, they're announcing COP28. And the UAE as a country also has very aggressive targets. 1 liter of diesel as compared to our 1 liter of biodiesel has almost 83 to 84% less GHG emissions. This is audited, this is confirmed, this includes the entire supply chain, feedstock, for example, coming from Indonesia, being all the energy we use in this plant to convert that into biodiesel and shipping that product to Europe. So the entire GHG emission of the entire supply chain, even then we have 84% reduction.
Okay, yeah.
80 to 84% depending on the raw material.
Exactly. Can you tell me more about the process? I don't understand. So you get the stock or raw material in these big containers. What's happening next?
Once we get the raw material, so for example, you can see the container there.
Yeah.
That's some raw material that has come.
All right.
So as soon as that comes, that is discharged into this is our unloading area. So we unload all of our feedstock over here. From here we go into our main storage tank. And then depending on what kind of feedstock we are running in the process, we decide which tank to use. And then we go into our production plant. The first step is to pre-esterify, which means pre-treat the oil. Bring it to a certain quality, bring it to a better quality, and then take it towards biodiesel production.
It's like filtering, you mean? Or what is it better?
It's like filtering. There's something known as free fatty acids in the oil. So in order for us to convert that into biodiesel and take it to the next step, we have to bring it to a certain quality, a better quality, for which we have to use chemicals to break it. We use those certain chemicals to bring that FFA level down. After that, we take it to something known as transesterification. Transesterification is where we convert that using methanol and some other ingredients. We convert that oil into crude biodiesel. Now, when you produce crude biodiesel, you also have byproducts. So we also produce crude glycerine, which is also sold in the market. And after transesterification, that we separate the glycerine from the biodiesel.
So you get two products.
From the crude, we get two
glycerine
products.
and biodiesel.
And crude biodiesel.
Crude biodiesel.
Now that crude biodiesel still has a lot of impurities. So for us to meet the specifications, we still have to clean it. So that's when we distill it. So we separate the glycerine, we take it to our glycerine tanks,
Yeah.
and we take the crude biodiesel into our distillation columns, which then distill it, and we bring the biodiesel to an acceptable specification for the European market or for the local market.
All right, and you mentioned European market, so what percentage, I don't know, you exporting or what percentage stays?
We are exporting almost 90% currently. Very little to the local market. There are no mandates in the UAE, so there is no mandate where biodiesel has to mix with diesel, whereas in Europe there is a mandate. So X percentage of diesel in all of Europe has to be biodiesel. So Europe is a great market, but our main target is sustainability, GHG emissions. So the closer we sell to the chimney, the better it is from a GHG perspective.
Yeah, to stay here.
Also economically. So focus is now trying to build the local market, and we're proud to say that we are the largest producers. We are producing in the heart of the UAE, in Jebel Ali. We are willing to work with the government. It's a great thing about the UAE government that when they set targets, they implement them. And we have a lot of tailwinds for the business towards the local market. So we're hoping that the government continues this momentum and we start seeing more and more demand from the local market.
Is it going to be challenging to fulfill demand? Still export to the Europe and then local market will pick up?
So we are actually under process. Unfortunately today the plant is not operational because we are expanding capacity here by almost 25%, and that should be ready in the next 1 month.
It means you're building something or improving processes? What do you mean?
We are adding some more capacity.
Yeah, okay.
We are adding some more capacity. So with that we will be able to hopefully service more and more markets.
All right. So you mentioned about regulation in Europe. What is the percentage?
It's about 7%, but every state has different, and that 7% is broken up into various different kinds of feedstocks. It's very complicated, but yes, it's about 7 to 8% and increasing. And then there is also mandates for the marine. This is only the transport sector. Then there's mandates for the marine. There are new technologies coming. There's mandates coming for aviation fuel. We don't produce that here, but that is something also that we are now thinking about. But
So it sounds like mandates is really good for you, for the business or the industry itself.
mandate is great for the industry, of course, because that creates a sustainable market. But obviously the mandate is in Europe. We are based in the UAE, so we would like local mandates here as well.
Yeah,
in
so
the UAE.
when our local mandates will pick up, you're already here established.
Yes.
And you can start serving.
We are here, there's infrastructure ready. The most beautiful thing about biodiesel is that you don't need a lot of infrastructure changes. You just need to have the depots, the main oil marketing companies, they just need to have blending. So they buy biodiesel from us, they mix it in diesel, and then it can be sold in the normal retail chain. So it's something that it's not complicated at all. So it's something that can be implemented very fast. We are also the largest producer of biodiesel in North India. So we have the exact same plant in a state called Haryana in North India, which has been operational for longer than this, about 2 years before this. And that plant is selling all of its production to the Indian oil companies, who are then blending it and selling it in the distribution chain of their own distribution chain.
Okay, so you're running basically two.
We run 2 units, one in Jebel Ali, which is the largest in GCC currently, and we have the largest in North India.
Interesting. Can you give me a timeline or something, for example, from the moment that raw material arrives till, I don't know, you are ready with biodiesel or you are exporting, ready to export? What's the time process?
So it depends what our stock levels are. If we are full, then we have 20 days stock. In case stock levels are less, the process itself takes about 2 days from the material going in to coming out. Not even 2 days, I would say about 24 to 36 hours, depending on the quality of feedstock, depending on multiple parameters.
Yeah.
But on average, you can say product into product out 24 to 36 hours.
So is the challenge like logistically to manage the existing?
It's not easy because our supply chain is coming from somewhere. We are still a new company. We are not a very old company. We have only been in production for 2 years. And those 2 years have been just after COVID, high interest rates, bad situation in Europe, war. So we've had to maneuver through some very challenging times. But things are looking better. We are increasing capacity.
Expanding, yeah.
So we are completely committed. And we want to work with the local authorities and the local government and try to increase as much blending locally as possible. So we have our biodiesel storage. We can store about 2,000 tons of biodiesel here and about 400 tons in a smaller tank there. So we have 2 tanks of biodiesel. We have a tank for methanol and a tank for diesel. Over there you can see our boiler house. Over there we have a thermic boiler.
It was on the left when we passed, yeah?
Yes, correct. So that's where we generate the heat and the steam required for the process. So we have our distillation columns which are running 24 hours a day at 250, 270 degrees Celsius.
So how the logistics works with this tank, you know, how long it takes to fill up and then you need to kind of export. What's the challenges usually with that?
We export or we sell locally. So if we sell locally, we get road tankers. They come and they load over here. If we're exporting, we either have the option to export in bulk. We have some tanks that are leased on the port. So we have the option to either export in bulk or we have the option to export in containers, depending on our customers' needs.
How long it takes to build a plant like this?
It's not easy. As you can see around in this region, you don't see many refineries. It's a new kind of industry in this region, in this area, especially in this free zone. But the authorities have been very